Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sriyanti Bugis, and now I want to explain about types of poetry and the example. Poetry comes in variety of varieties, yet poetry is commonly divided into three types: old poems, new poems, and contemporary poems. Each type of poem has different characteristics along with a review. Number one is an old poem. Old poetry is so produced that it tends to have rules and meaning that are often used during ceremonial customs. It divides into different types such as the poem, the talibun, the poem, and the gurindam. Poetry sample any broken notes. Do not keep in the chaos. If there's a word wrong, don't keep it in your heart. Number two, new poetry. The new poem is a literary work expressing feelings and thoughts in language that pay attention to rhythm, incantations, a lyric that rhyme to meaning. Example. For example, Generation Now, on top of this mountain of fantasy stood me, and from there everything down to the fighting place of Generation Now in the long haul. Creative in their poem if Indonesian Python beauty, a moment to attempt in the world. Poetry by Hadi Romanch. Number three, contemporary poetry. Number three, contemporary poetry. Contemporary poetry is poetry that's always trying of fit the edge of break out of conventional bounds. This type of poem commonly allows much importance to the rhythm and figures of speech, such as old poetry and new poetry. For explain what contemporary boils down to more typographical structures and sometimes good language emerge. Now I want to explain about using your our understanding. In reading or listening to poetry, there are certain types of the poetry themselves. The type of poetry is characteristic of different characteristics. All poetry tends to have rules that are meaningful and often used with distinct characteristics as well as at equatant times such as the traditional ceremony and the old poem would read and be heard by the ingenious characters in the ceremony of these customs. All poems that have such types as Pantheon, Talibon, First, and Gurindam are all of the old poem. The new poem is a poem in which it is a literary work containing the emotional expressions of the poem readers. The poem which is reading corresponds to what is found in the general environment, experience, history, and the environment that makes a person with a person write poems and to hear rhythm, the spells, the compilers, the lyric to the words of the poetry. Contemporary poetry, where the pose is where readers or writers strive to leave behind the development of the times or out of the conventional bounds of the poem. This conventional poem on the ummah of a type of poetry where it no longer requires the rhythm, style, and language of all poetry and new poems as the art of writing. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you. I'm Sriyanti Bugis. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.